Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Zhafran bin Omya.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nur Izwani binti Ahmad Zaini. So today we are going to present about factors that lead to runaway teenagers, a study in Segamat, Johor. I will start the presentation with the research background. Teenagers often associated with a crisis of identity or mental disorder as they are in the process of seeking direction of life. The issue of identity crisis often involves the question of image and personality and way of life. Teenagers can be defined as a young person that age between 13 and 18 years old, which they are in the phase of puberty. In Malaysia, the definition of teenagers is not being specified as general, and the age definition are distinct from one law to another. Based on National Health Plan, adolescent or teenagers are those who age from 10 to 19 years old, which divide into three phases, namely early, middle, and late adolescent phase. In Malaysia, such as it is elsewhere in the world, most runaway teenagers does so due to family conflicts such as domestic violence, parents' drug or sex abuse, neglect and divorcing parents, and peers' influence and peers' pressure. Past studies on missing children indicate that there are many factors contributing to the problem. According to Bihal et al., suggests a continuum in defining missing children, ranging from children missing willingly to those missing unintentionally. Now, we will move to the problem statement. According to the statistic by Royal Malaysian Police, show that the number of missing children cases in 2011 until May 2019 was 15,042 cases, which the highest cases reported at Johor, which is 2,372 cases, followed by Selangor, 1,911 cases, and Kedah, 1,526 cases. From all the cases reported, 14,679 cases has been rediscovered, while 363 has not yet been found, and 26 cases were found dead. From this problem, we can consider this as a social problem, as the children and teenagers that gone missing facing a serious problem with their emotion and could lead to serious issues such as drug addiction, homelessness, and involved in crimes such as theft. Hence, this research is carried out to find and understand the factors that lead to runaway teenagers issue. For research objectives, the first objective was to identify the relationship between family and runaway teenagers, and the second objective was to identify the relationship between peers and runaway teenagers. For research questions, the first question was, does any significant relationship exist between family and factors that lead to runaway teenagers? And the second question was, does any significant relationship exist between peers and factors that lead to runaway teenagers? Next, I will explain about significance of the study. The first significance was body of knowledge. This study will contribute to the body of the knowledge related to missing or runaway issues, focusing on teenagers. This study using two variables, which is family and peers, which is expected to contribute to the understanding of factors that influence teenagers to went missing or run away from home. Second, policymakers. This study is important for policymakers at relevant ministries such as Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, in order to develop the support program and safety policy such as parenting programs and awareness on social problems and consequences among teenagers to ensure parents and community able to increase understanding about emotions of their child and teenagers, able to know how important it is to make a decision based on rationality. Third, family. It is important to be understood by the family that particularly parent and those within the nuclear family relationship what the factor that influence teenagers to missing from home. This because the different teenagers face different environment in which various factors could cause them to apply those behavior. And lastly, teenagers. The study also plays significant roles on the teenagers themselves as the main part of the research. The teenagers able to know the push and pull factors that influence them to consider the thought of running away from home. The teenagers will be more aware and able to understand the situation they currently in, not only as individual but also as peers to others, and support any programs that would help them to make better and rational decisions. Now, I will talk about the conceptual framework. Based on the literature review and the understanding of the factors that lead to runaway teenagers, the conceptual framework is developed. The conceptual framework proposes a direct relationship between the determinant of the factors that lead to runaway teenagers, which are family and peers, and the factors that lead to runaway teenagers. There are two independent variables, which is family and peers. There are three reasons under families, which is parents' divorce, poverty within families, and physical and emotional abuse from parents. And under peers, there are also three reasons, which is with bad companies, fleeing with boyfriend, and enjoy excessive entertainment. And the dependent variable was factors that lead to runaway teenagers.
I will present to you about the research methodology that has been used during our research study. So as you can see in the slide, there is 4 points. First is sample design size. Second is sampling technique. Third is data collection. And fourth is data analysis. So for the first point is sample design size. Our study have been conducted at Segamat, Johor. It is one of the district in the Johor state and is located in the north part of the state, in which this area will be distributed by a survey that have been given to those teenagers and parents that live in the area. So for the sample size, based on Roscoe rule of thumb, 30 to 500 respondents is sufficient to conduct a research study. So for this study, we have determined to use 100 respondents to answer our survey. Also, this is due to fact that factors such as constraint in cost, in timing, and also due to the global pandemic that happen currently. So let's move to the second point, which is sampling technique. We have used a purposive sampling technique to conduct our research study. It is a non-probability sample in which it allows us to choose respondent that fit our purpose and suitable for our study. So for our study, using this technique, we have choose two groups. First is teenager and second is parent as our target group because they are suitable for purpose of the study. This is because both group has a connection and also related to our issue, which is runaway teenager issue for the study. So we have moved to third point, which is data collection. So for this study, due to cost, timing, and also global pandemic, so we have used Google Form to reduce contact with other people. Google Form is a form that have been used, which will be answered through internet platform. This Google Form is distributed to people in Segamat area through WhatsApp or through Facebook. So it is answered with a contactless method. So for the lastly is data analysis. So we have 3 tests that have been used for this data to be analyzed. So first is to examine the level. We have used mean descriptive test. So for the to find the relationship between independent and dependent, we have used the Pearson correlation test. And lastly, to find which factors is the most significant factors, we have used the multiple regression test to find out which variable is most strongest factors. Now, I will present about the most important part of the study, which is finding and hypothesis testing. As you can see in the table in the slide, we have 4 objectives that have been tested during the study. So the first objective is to examine the level of influence of the independent variable on the dependent variable. For this objective, we have used the mean descriptive to find average for the about the respondent, whether they are agree or disagree with the factors. So through the finding, it is indicated that the respondent have agreed that there is a level of influence of the independent variable, which is peers and family, on the factors that lead to the runaway teenagers. So for the second objective is to find the relationship between independent variable, which is family influence, and dependent variable, which is factors that lead to the runaway teenagers. For this objective, we have used the Pearson correlation test to identify whether there is relationship or not, and the result indicated that the R is 0.403, as you can see, which according to the Cohen 1988, that there is a moderate relationship between family influence and factors that lead to the runaway teenagers, which means H null 1, which is there is no relationship between family influence and factors, is rejected, and H1 is accepted as there is a relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. So for the objective number 3 is to identify the relationship between peers influence and factors that lead to the runaway teenagers. We have used same test with the objective 2, which is Pearson correlation, to find a relationship, and you can see the R is 0.79, which according to Cohen again, based on the Cohen, there is a strong relationship between peers influence, the independent variable, and also factors that lead to the runaway teenagers. So the hypothesis is H null is there is no relationship. This means it is rejected, and H2 is accepted since there is a relationship between peers influence, which is the independent variable, and also the dependent variable, which is factors that lead to runaway teenager. And the last objective is to find the most significant factors between the independent variable. So to find the most factor, we have used the multiple regression test to find out which of the between peers and influence that have the most significant that has influenced the teenager to run away from home. So based on the result, the beta value for family is 0.162, while peers influence is 0.737. So it is indicated that since peers influence has higher beta value compared to family, peers is recognized as the most factors that influence teenagers to run away from home. So all objective has been fulfilled and hypothesis has been tested. To conclude our presentation, through this study, both research hypothesis and also objective has been answered and fulfilled, in which it is found that both independent variable, which is family and peers influence, has relationship with the factors that lead to the runaway teenagers. This is supported by previous studies such as Khadijah 2014 and also statistic about runaway teenagers in Malaysia by Royal Police Force. Through this study also, it is found that peers, one of the independent variable, is the most significant factor that influence teenager to run away from home. Thus, it is recommended for relevant stakeholders such as ministry and family institution to be more proactive and aware about the social problem and take preventive measure to prevent teenagers from involved in negative activities for their own safety and futures. It is also recommended for future study to get more information from NGO and also Royal Police Force about this social problem and this issue to get deeper insight and also better understanding. So that's all our presentation. On behalf of Nur Izwani and myself, I would like to say thank you very much for watching our video. And also, we hope that you understand about what we are presenting. So thank you very much.